beautiful there. And you're in
London.
London.
Yes. We were just doing some shopping. We were in Selfridges and Marks and Spencer, and down the street that way a little bit, there was a pop-up with a whole bunch of like new up and coming designers and people who had like shopped thrift stores and found a bunch of designer goods in thrift stores and were reselling them there and stuff. So anyway, so I poked around and I got a new coat.
Oh, it's lovely. Of course, now it's windy.
Yeah, now we're filming. Is it picking up on the microphone or?
A little. It's all right.
We were at the Victoria and Albert Museum this morning to see an exhibit on Alice in Wonderland.
Uh-huh.
And also handbags.
Yeah, so if people want to see that, check out Anne's stories on Instagram. I thought I knew how on Instagram because I just looked at all your photos. It was great.
Yeah, it was really fun. Sorry, trying to block the wind from this side.
You should have Adam stand there.
Right? There were people sitting there a moment ago and they just left, so I lost my windbreak. Anyway, I only got about 4 rows done yesterday because we were living life.
Yeah.
But I do want to say that yesterday's color was not the ladybug from the Grouchy Ladybug. It was coral from Mr. Seahorse, which is the book that I guessed was the color yesterday. Yeah. So
it was so funny. I saw your comment on the Fiber Seeds Instagram. Anne's all incensed. She's like typing in caps. She's like, "Oh, come on."
I can't get any of these.
It's so funny though. Do you have your packages or not?
I do. I have my packages. So I'll go ahead and open. So we're on day 11.
Yeah.
This first one I can't believe anyway.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it's like purples and blacks, purples and grays. And I'm trying to get the lighting. Anyway.
But it's natural.
So that's from the Fiber Seed. Yeah. And I'm still getting that watery Mr. Seahorse vibe. But I don't know. Maybe I'm overconfident because
I mean, what about like coral and all the lovely coral colors under this?
I don't know. Lindsay's tough.
She is.
She is tough.
Okay, so we're gonna move right along. I know you're on the street, so this is
I'm the weirdo.
Yep. Day 11 from A Girl in Her Wool. Ooh.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful.
I have the beachy coral kind of stuff going on.
Yeah. You totally do.
I do. So this is day 11. Let me put it next to 9 and 10. Ooh.
Lovely. That's a fun progression.
So if people want to see the progression, I have that on my Instagram stories as well. So.
Yeah. So I think, like there was like the progression to the peach, and now the peach looks like it's progressing to something else. Maybe. Okay. We have a pop of color today from the British Yarn Explorers. Look at that.
Ooh.
It's got a little bit of fluffiness to it, a little hairiness.
Yeah.
Not bad against the skin. Let me see if I'm afraid of it getting blown away. Oh, and we have a new Explorer too. If anyone wants to look it up. Sorry. I'm trying to keep things from blowing away.
You need an assistant.
Sorry, guys. I know I'm moving all over. So here's our Explorer for today.
Oh, Grace
Marguerite, Lady Hay Drummond-Hay, the first woman to circumnavigate the world by Zeppelin. Holy cow, that's pretty crazy.
Wow.
And then we have Wensleydale is the yarn.
Nice.
Wensleydale. And let me get the paper open. It's a long one today, guys. All right, Wensleydale, spun in Yorkshire, home farm Wensleydales. Oh, sourced from home farm Wensleydales. This is a high welfare flock focused on traceability and good wool. The Wensleydale long wool sheep is a large sheep. The breed originated in North Yorkshire. They have great long locks, and the staple length can reach 40 centimeters.
Wow.
She says, I love this Wensleydale wool. It has a great luster and drape, so it is great for lace work. Usually white. There is a rare black Wensleydale fleece too. Great for summer wear, shawls, blankets, or light fleece. There you go. Let me grab it again. There's that.
Wow, that's
Pop of
fantastic.
color among all the browns and natural whites. That'll be fun to work with.
Now, is that a fingering or a DK?
It said, I think it said it was a DK.
Okay, I must have missed that.
But it's not. It says DK, Wensleydale DK, but it's a finer DK. I would put it between a DK and a fingering.
Okay, day 11 for the National Park Series is from the the Irish Girls, and it's from Grand Canyon National Park. Let me make sure I have that right. Yes, 3 Irish Girls Yarn Incorporated. So I didn't sleep a lot. 3 Irish Girls Yarn. Day 11. Grand Canyon. Ooh, nice little business card here.
Higher. There you go. Nice.
And this says this is the Adorn Luxe Mini Skein, 85% merino, 15% nylon. Ooh.
Ooh, I like those colors.
And it says this colorway is called Sunrise
very nice.
Sunrise over the South Rim.
Nice. Really quick, before I go, I'm gonna see if I can reverse the camera real quick because, or maybe I'll just. Oh nope, I see it. So here we are on Oxford Street, and you can see the Christmas lights. This is one of the places that people come to see the lights. So it's going to be dark in like a half hour, but for now it's still kind of lit up.
And you cut out just a little bit. You said this is Oxford Street?
Oxford Street, yeah.
Okay. Nice.
Shopping destination. It's all shops all up and down this road. Marks and Spencers and Selfridges and like Urban Outfitters and everything. It's basically a mall along the road.
Yeah.
And then they'd probably be very offended that I called them mall. But let's see where you can see all the Christmas stars all the way down the street that are just starting to glow red as it's just starting to get dark here. It gets dark. It's very, very early, like 4 o'clock. It will be dark.
Right.
So
anyway. Excellent. All right.
Good to see you.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Sorry to rush away. Do we have an interview today?
We do. We have an interview with Lindsay from the Fiber Seed.
Oh, it's today. Yeah, awesome. Enjoy that, guys.
All right. See you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.
Hey, welcome to the podcast, Lindsay. We're glad to have you.
Glad to be here.
So we are super interested. I was saying to Anne earlier that I have yet to get my hands on a skein of your yarn, but I went and checked out your website and I am digging the December Lost in New York colorway. I love those dark, moody.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Lovely.
Yeah. Thank you. Yep. That's since moving to Ohio 3 years now. It's been that long. Anyway, I started out with bright colors. That was my wheelhouse because I was from Florida. And then you have to basically see deeper into the colors that are available once winter hits when you're in Ohio. So that was fun. So the whole concept of having those moodier colors in the winter, the inspiration's there. You just have to sit there and see it. So right. I like it.
One of the things I really love about the different colorways that you come up with is that you don't keep it secret about what the colors are in the colorway. So it makes it so much easier to know what other yarns to order with it.
Yeah.
That will coordinate with. Right. So like this one, this is the Westfjords Wanderer that I knit in fiber seed yarn. And the basis of it was the silos colorway that you came up with for the Online International Fiber Festival. And then you said, these are the colors that were used. So then I could say, okay, add to cart, and just add all those colors. So I knew that they were all going to work together in my shop.
That's super handy too, especially since, monitors vary, things are different. But if I know that you've put it up, you've set it up together, right. Like I'm going to trust that what goes with what, whether my monitor is accurate or not.
Right.
So I think that's cool.
Thanks. Yeah. The basis of that concept was you can't touch and feel it. I used to work at a yarn shop before I started dyeing yarn. So, if you see my hands hook up, like that's because I talk with them. If I try sitting on them, I'll start spinning around. Anyway, But anyway, I started working at a yarn shop, and one of the things I had to do was help people put together palettes for their colorwork projects. So the concept of having an online shop and then not being able to touch it and not being able to see if something goes with another color, by putting that palette together, it just alleviated that problem.
Right.
And I like solving problems and fixing the yarn issue. It's like, hey, here it is. And if you want to do a 5-color project, there's the palette you can start with. So
yeah.
Brilliant.
I love it. I love it. So you were talking about how you're originally in Tampa and you've moved up to Ohio. Is that when you started dyeing with the move, or were you dyeing before then?
Well, I started dyeing. It's all connected. Your life is connected whether you realize it or not. And failures, things that you can see as failures at the time, actually needed to happen so that you can go forward to the next thing.
Right.
If I hadn't basically graduated college, gotten married, moved to another state, and then got turned down for a job that I thought I was going to get because of going to school, I would have never started working in a craft store. I would have never started knitting. And if I hadn't started knitting, I wouldn't have something that I got completely obsessed about. I loved yarn, didn't matter what it was. And the failure was that I had to move back from where I moved 6 months after I'd gotten married. So in that, though, I had seen yarn shops. I had been to one right before I left. And I was thought, oh no, I'm moving to Florida. Nobody's going to knit. There's going to be no yarn shops. And then I found one right around the corner. And then I walked in and I put in an application and I got picked to work there. So the next thing I knew, I was learning how to crochet, learning how to weave, learning how to spin. And then I was putting together, again, the color palettes for people. And I thought maybe dyeing would be fun. And I started doing that. And I started selling it at that yarn shop. And the rest is history. That was 2012 that I started selling yarn. So the palettes have changed over time. That, experimenting with the different dye styles, all of that has, evolved. And I'm really still enjoying it, even though I've been doing this for almost 10 years now. So
that's fantastic. That's wonderful.
So we've talked a little bit about how it's unique, at least as far as I've seen. Your shop is, has that unique feature of, showing what you can pair with what and breaking out those colorways for people to, have a foolproof shopping experience. What other things make your shop and your online presence unique?
My online presence, I guess my quirky attitude. But I don't know. My mind just went blank. It's done this ever since I had kids. So thinking
I totally understand. You are in good company right now.
No.
I'll be talking at some point in person with people, and all of a sudden I just stop. And my mind got either ahead of me or behind. I don't know where I was in it, but I just forgot what I was talking about. And I'm like, I was going somewhere with that. I don't remember anymore. What makes me unique, I guess, not as an online presence, I guess the whole idea, I'm saying I guess a lot. You can cut that out if you want or leave it. This is how I go. I leave it. It's part of me. Anyway, what makes me unique is, I guess, the fact that I'm just living life and I want you to live it with me. And all the imperfections, all the high points, the low points, I want to be positive and be that person that can be like, here, let's connect and have a good day. And in the yarn aspect of it, I had I want to say not a bad experience. It was a learning experience because it's all how you perceive it. Right. I started in wholesale first, and I went to a trade show, and I had a yarn shop owner walk in. And basically, this is when I first started. I'm trying to, I'm just dyeing yarn. I'm not really trying to differentiate myself in that respect. But she walked in and walked out, and kind of, it's like that passing comment was like, you're not any different than any other hand dyer here. And I was like, well, okay, what do I do with that? And I started looking, how can I differentiate myself? What makes me different? Right now, what am I doing? What am I doing to make myself different? And so my husband is he's Mr. Fiberseed. He doesn't have any interweb stuff, so he's Mr. Fiberseed. And he and I work together to work with a mill to get a base that is custom to us. It's milled in the US. It's dyed in the US by us. It's grown on the sheep in the US. So it's a
Awesome.
superwash merino, and it's superwashed in the US as well. And that stuff is on our website if anybody wants to go look it up.
Yeah.
And but that differentiates it. Our base is different, and we have it in sock, DK, and worsted. So if you ever want a worsted with a little bit of nylon for durability, the merino does the softness all on its own. That's the differentiation there.
Right.
And then I've just been experimenting with different dye techniques, and the half speckles and the half and halves are something that the half speckles I came out with.
Oh, Anne's over there looking. She does that side eye.
Settle down, Jana.
I've
Settle
got
down.
some of them behind me, and I don't want to be like reaching
No,
blindly.
go ahead.
Like,
Go ahead. Anne
but
has
the,
more than one
half
monitor,
speckles-
so she can like look and shop. She can click and stuff
Yeah.
while we're
That's the,
talking. I don't have
yeah.
more than one monitor, so I can't be like doing the side eye.
But I'm like, I'm doing something separate here. The half speckles, I was just playing. I was like, what can I do? Because at the time, hand paints were kind of going out, and they are super involved. At least the way I was doing it. And I wanted to figure out a way that I could differentiate and have fun. And I made half speckles, and that was brought that out in, I think, 2016, maybe 2015, something like that. Anyway, it's got speckles on one half and solid on the other, so it can do faux spirals. I had those, and you can make socks out of it. You can use it as normal multicolor, and it's a lot of fun. There's also plain pooling, which at the time I remember working at the yarn shop, nobody wanted plain pooling. Oh, not a thing. You wanted it all. And I was like, well, what if we did do plain pooling? Because there were dyers that did different plain poolings with their multicolors. And I said, what can I do to make a different one? And luckily I had a friend who's a designer, Talitha Kwame, come up with the depth cowl and the depth hat, which basically stacks the multicolor in a really cool pattern that looks like a sound wave. Some people in the medical ward, they're like, that looks like an EKG. So it's really neat, and it was a lot of fun to do. So
I'll have to go look at those patterns.
yeah, depth and then depth hat.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I've only just heard of planned pooling relatively recently, and I was saying to Anne the other day, I'm not very good at like reading a skein. I'm not very good at that yet to see, kind of to determine whether that'll work or not, or, I just need to fix my ignorance regarding that.
No, it's a lot of fun. I mean, here.
Oh yeah, show us.
I was about to say, I've got perfect hair here. No, I'm just kidding. The back, the bed head. We're not turning around for that. But anyway, quick reading of the skein.
Ooh,
So
yeah.
this is
Wow, looks like a party.
yes, it's neon lights. And it's speckled, but I did it chromatically. Anyway, I made this colorway kind of like as a reminder of my grandpa, who was a sign painter and did neon lights and all that stuff. And he had Alzheimer's, so part of the proceeds to this gets sent to Cure Alzheimer's Fund.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at it, it's chromatic.
Right.
So if you're thinking about this, if you're working in the round, this can basically spiral chromatically. It's going to go around. It's easier to think of this if it's in the round of what it'll do. If it's back and forth, you got to think it's going to basically stack opposite of itself.
Oh,
So,
sure. Okay. Yeah, depending on your cast on and okay.
Right. Yeah. And your cast on will also determine how your stuff will work as well, because depending on which one you use, it can chew up more of your color stacking abilities, or how if it's kind of planned pooling, could possibly use up more of that color sequence. Right. And so then when you start, it will actually be different than what it looks like on your cast on.
Right. Interesting.
Sorry.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, that's really helpful. And I know, like, for a lot of beginner knitters too, like that's, I think sometimes people are intimidated by hand-dyed yarn because they're like, how is this going to look when it's actually knit up? So do you find you're someone who I think is obviously not afraid of color. You have everything from the neons to the muted to everything. You're playing with all sorts of colors. Do you have a favorite colorway, or maybe a shade of color that you really love? Like you're dying and you're like, oh yes, that is the one.
It's like trying to pick one of your children as a favorite.
Yeah.
Or does it depend on the day? Or
That's my second question.
Yeah. So I couldn't do that. I don't know. I would say I do like those. I like mixing bright and subtle, honestly, because it's the best of both worlds. It's fun to see if you can get those deep, moody tones. And what really inspires me is things like this, like where it's watercolor. And it's like, how can I translate that to a hank of yarn? And the idea of layering all those colors on top of one another. It's fun to get those deep moody hues sometimes, but it's fun to try to see, like, can I get that, like blended background, but then have those pops of color. And so things like water lily, that really this year was it was one of our color of the month, and I don't know where I have it in all this to show you, but basically it was very calm background, but then there was like these very poignant pops of color. And I think that was when I was like, hey, I really like mixing the two together instead of, yes, I do have the subtle and just do have the really bright ones, but I like that happy in between because it uses both of them.
Yeah.
Nice.
And that is like the perfect lead in to my next question, actually, which is your favorite child? No, I'm just kidding. Which is about your Advent and your Hanukkah boxes that you put together. And I just want to allow you to talk about those, because I think it's so interesting how you drew the inspiration for those.
Right. Well, it's definitely progressed. The original ideas, I hadn't done Advent boxes before. This is our third year doing it. Hanukkah and Advent, I started at the same time. I wanted to offer something because I noticed that there wasn't a lot available, and I had seen people say, hey, can somebody make something for Hanukkah? And so I wanted to be respectful because it's not my religion, and I didn't want to step in the wrong spot. So luckily, your past live mixing with what you do currently, Mr. Fiberseed used to be in radio, and he had a friend who used to produce a show for Rabbi Barbara. And I thought, why don't I work with her, because she can lead me and guide me, because I don't know as much as I should, and I want her to help me out and make something that is meaningful, because I always like to have some kind of meaning behind the yarn, even though you individually will take the yarn, it'll remind you of a memory, but just maybe having that connection point with it. And so really kind of the jumping off point was, well, I like seeing artwork, and I wanted to I like that play when you see the inspiration that somebody else created something and then creating something new from that inspiration. And so I conferred with her. I was like, what are your favorite artists, Jewish artists, so that we can get this rolling? And the first year we did Marc Chagall, and that was a lot of fun. I picked his stained glass window stuff. This year I picked Helen Frankenthaler, and she pioneered basically staining the canvas by not putting the wash you have to put on to keep the paint from soaking into it. So she kind of got that like neat blending and layering of colors and movement that was more organic. And I really liked that. And so it was a lot of fun to go through her work. And I mean, the work that I picked spanned from like the 60s all the way up until like 2009. Wow. And so it was fun to go through all of her work and see her progression and all of that. So that was a lot of fun. And then the Advent years past, I kind of like incorporated colors I had and then kind of connected them with new colors. Last year I did a gradient. Everything was basically completely different than what I normally carry, and I made it move from one side to the other. That was fun on my part to stretch myself to do that. And then this year I wanted to do something a little different, and I really honestly was stumped as to what, if I should do like a theme of movies or what would speak to me and inspire me. And honestly, there was a day I was thinking about it. It was also my grandmother's birthday, and she's no longer with us. And it had been a while, and I was reflecting back on, my childhood and And then I got, I don't know why I got on Facebook, but I just clicked on it and a news brief popped up that Eric Carle had passed away. And I immediately, like, it pulled me back because my grandmother loved books, and my grandparents, they made my dad love books, and my mom, she loved books as well. But I always went to the library and always had Eric Carle books when I was little, and I loved looking at them. I liked reading them, but I loved just staring at the pages because they were so layered, and there was the bright and the subtle and the movement of color. And it just clicked. I said, that's what I have to do, because for a couple of years, I have a list of things like, this would be fun to try, your list of ideas. And I was like, do something with Eric Carle, like contact him and like work with him to do something. And when that popped up, I'm like, well, opportunity missed. Try to jump on things when you have the idea next time. But then I was like, wait a second, let me do basically an homage to one of my favorite illustrators. So it was fun to go back through. It was funny. Going to the library, the local library, I went into the children's section with my children to kind of mask what I was doing. I'm like grabbing this giant stack of Eric Carle books. And I'm like, wow, we're going to, we read them, but I'm like, yeah, this is all research. And I mean, the librarian's like, here's a book of his life. And I got to like read about his life and that this sense of why he created what he did. And it was really neat. And so that really got me energized and excited. And there's points where I would just sit there and like think of what dyes I have, because I mix a lot of my own unique stuff in, but I was just like throwing down random numbers, and I'm like, oh, we're going to see if that's going to get that color there, and things I'd never like played with before. Yeah. And then when I put them down onto the yarn, I'm like, I nailed that color. That was so exciting. And so this has been a lot of fun, and I don't think that by any means that this advent calendar is going to be done, because there's too many of them that I like. Yeah. So that's just, that's a cat. Sorry.
She's a baby. She's purring and she's warm.
It's adorable.
It's
she's
cold
like a
now.
like cat. But yeah, that's really where my inspiration went with that this year. So
yeah, it's been great. So I'm the one knitting from your box, and I'm having such a great time with it. This is going to air in a few days, so this won't be spoilers, but this is how it's looking so far.
Oh, that is so cool.
Of it. So it's the Unicorn Parallelograms by Stephen West. But I've been trying like every day. I'm like, okay, I think I know what this is. I think I know what book this one came from. And then you post the inspiration like a few days later, and I'm like, oh, I didn't get it.
Well, some of them, yeah, it's interesting. I think that some of them you're gonna like, where did you get with that?
It's been so great though. And it's like you said, my kids are 19 and 17 now, but I mean, we were obsessed with Eric Carle books when they were little. They just loved them. So it's been such a wonderful walk down memory lane to be knitting these up. So I'm glad you had the inspiration to do it this way. I think they're great.
Well, thanks. I'm enjoying it. So I find it fun though that you're like making your own little game out of it. Like, what? So I'm going to have you stumped hopefully on some of them, because I was looking through them and I did, some of the characters and things, but then sometimes backgrounds got me. So
yes, I didn't expect that.
Like, there it is. So
this one, I thought sure this one was going to be the lion from 1, 2, 3 to the zoo. Yeah. Was that one his? Or I'm thinking, anyway, there's a lion in one of the books. And I was like, well, that's obviously the lion. No, it's not. And if you want to know what it is, go to the Fiber Seed site, because the Fiber Seed Instagram, because she's doing her reveal posts, and you can theorize for yourself and then go see what it really is. But I saw it and I was like, oh yeah, of course that's what it is. I'm going to get it. I still have 18 days or something at this point. I'm going to get one of them.
Yeah. I'm positive you will. There are some of them like, yep, I got excited. I'm like, yes, I got that one. Like I can see that one,
that's great.
Without knowing where I picked it from. So
it's like you guys have a daily puzzle going on.
Yeah.
That's really cool. So what's coming up for your shop in 2022?
Well, we just had a planning session, Mr. Fiberseed and I, and so we are going to be doing boxes of sorts, holiday colors for the different holidays. Because why not have a fun pair of socks that you can wear on Valentine's Day or Mardi Gras or whatever one you celebrate? Things like that. Boxes, new colors, of course, for the seasons. So that's always fun. I like to bring it in with new colors. So each season there'll be a couple new colors, and hopefully we'll be going to more shows. So
Great.
might see us.
Hopefully.
Okay.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
So people can find you at thefiberseed.com.
Yep, thefiberseed.com. You have to have the THE in there, or you're not going to get there. But the Fiberseed, and we are the Fiberseed on all the social media platforms we're in, Instagram, Facebook. I hopefully will be another new thing. Hopefully next year is that I'm going to be picking up the Fiberseed podcast blog. It's video because you can't see me flailing my hands without a video.
Right. We have to see
yeah.
that. We do that. Whoops. Baby's
Yeah,
getting
full effect.
avalanche yarn.
So that's but yeah, we'll have the Fiberseed podcast on YouTube. So
Awesome.
So do you currently have a YouTube channel where people can go and subscribe?
I
now?
do, and I have 2 episodes. I started them
Woo!
in the beginning of 2020, and then I
Okay.
had to homeschool my kids. So let's try
Pause.
2022, but not in the other part of the way. So
Right. Pause.
yes.
Okay,
pause.
but
That's
people
exactly
can go
what-
and just preemptively subscribe for when you.
I found it. It's
Oh,
there.
yeah.
Thank you for joining us. It's been delightful to visit.
It has been a lot of fun. Thanks for having me.